Well, welcome aboard, crew. I'll be your skipper, alligator wrestler, and swimming instructor on a cruise that can only happen here in the Magic Kingdom. Hey, look what we found! The secret bathing pool of the Indian elephants. It's okay to stare, folks. They're all wearing their trunks. Look out in the back! This one looks a little angry. Parents, this is a good time to hold up your kids to see the action. They make great shields. Now over there is a giant python. They're real friendly creatures. They can even get a crush on you. You know what I mean. Something tells me we're not out of the woods yet, because when you've been in the jungle as long as I have, you begin to smell. Smell danger, that is. Oh, I should have seen that coming.
Yo-ho, yo-ho, a parent's life for me. Ah!
Give it to him again, lad. Aye, that'll show the bilge rats. He needs persuasion, mates. Oh, the redhead!
We watch the redhead! We watch the redhead! Quiet, you scum!
Putting the roof on the Great Movie Ride was a unique feat of engineering.
You've got steam starts rising out of the set, and then just shortly after that, this whole face just explodes. Not quite like this. And this big ball comes rolling out here. At this point, this is already sunk down, and Indiana Jones turns and runs away from the ball.
The Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular was extensively tested from storyboards to full-scale mock-ups. Testing was done with a real ball because it was the simplest way to do it. No special machinery or maintenance was needed because gravity made the ball work every time.
The more and more that you can become that character, the more you feel like that character, the better your animation will be.
An animator is an actor. He gets a scene, he has to act it out on paper.
For most of their careers, they were known as the Nine Old Men. It was Walt Disney's nickname for the most talented of his animation staff. 4 of the 9 Old Men were in Orlando for the dedication of Disney Studios Florida. More than anything else, the presence of Ward Kimball, Mark Davis, Frank Thomas, and Ollie Johnston made the opening official.
We were influenced by a guy named Disney. I mean, Walt, he acted and he was a great storyteller, and you have to have somebody like that who's kind of has the vision of what you're trying to do.
Today, let's look at the advancements we've been working on for Muppet Vision. Beaker, would you turn on the machine?
All of the characters and many of the scenes from the Disney animated film The Lion King are brought to life in this 25-minute stage production. Guests experience special environmental effects, including misty rain, cold nights, the warm winds of the Serengeti Plain, and stampeding wildebeests. Songs in the show include Circle of Life, Hakuna Matata, Can You Feel the Love Tonight, and I Can't Wait to Be King.
During the last few years, we've ventured into a lot of different fields, and we've had the opportunity to meet and work with a lot of wonderful people. I only hope that we never lose sight of one thing, that it was all started by a mouse.
Congratulations, Mr. Mickey Mouse. Congratulations to you. Congratulations, your picture show was fine. It's a hit, and we want to shake your hand. Congratulations, happy days to you. You sure brought down the house, and we hope you have a lot of success. Congratulations, Mickey Mouse.
On Big Thunder Mountain, A runaway mine car roars through the desert into a collapsing mine and around one dangerous curve after another.
One of the early steps in the attraction design process is to work out the routines of every act. Story sessions are held in which writers bounce ideas back and forth, and as part of the game, act out all the parts.
Is that the sawing on the fiddle with a crooked hickory pole?
Gringos come out to socialize.
The audio animatronics figures in the Haunted Mansion were some of the most technically demanding ever created by the Imagineers. Although the characters are spirits and ghosts, the trick was to make them realistic and lifelike as well.
Send us a message from somewhere beyond.
This government must be preserved in spite of the acts of any man or set of men. Nowhere in the world is presented a government of so much liberty and equality. To the humblest and poorest among us are held the highest privileges and positions. Our reliance is in the love of liberty, which God has planted in us.
Everybody's got a laughing place to go home, home. Take a frown, turn it upside down, and you'll find yours. Honey and rainbows on our way. We're laughing 'cause our work is play. Boy, are we in luck. We're visiting our laughing place. Everybody's got a laughing place to go home, home. Take a smile there for a while, and you'll find yours. We know. Honey rainbows all our way. Take the frown, turn it upside down.
Underneath the Magic Kingdom is a series of crisscrossing corridors called utilidors that cover nearly 9 acres. This urban basement allows cast members and maintenance trucks to move freely from one section of the park to another without disturbing the guests. Makeup rooms, dressing rooms, design and decorating facilities are just some of the departments found here.
For the 120 species of protected animals in the zoological park, special foods are prepared daily. Meals consist of fruits, vegetable greens, and a lot of bugs for the birds.
Peter Blake, the architectural editor of New York Magazine, recommends that all of New York City's town planning work be turned over to the Walt Disney Mickey Mouse organization because they seem to be the only people in America who are able to get anything done. Now, don't laugh. When you look around at this new town they have built here in Central Florida, you will think he is right. It is the most imaginative and most effective piece of urban planning in America. And that is totally aside from the Mickey Mouse amusement park area itself. It is outside of the park on Disney's own land, which is about twice the size of Manhattan. On this they have built roads, transportation systems, lakes, golf courses, campgrounds, riding stables, stores, hotels, and so on. And they all fit together in a setting of land, air, and water better than any other urban environment in America. We all remember seeing years ago those slick, futuristic drawings saying what the future of the American city was going to be. Gleaming buildings, fast monorails, people in one place, cars in another. Well, this is the future, and none of it has happened. Nobody has done it but Disney. Now, in larger scale on this map, our Florida land is located partly in Orange County and Osceola County, between the cities of Orlando and Kissimmee. And the important thing is that the Disney World is located just a few miles from the crossing point of Interstate 4 and Sunshine State Parkway, Florida's major highways carrying motors east and west and north and south to the center of the state.
From the top, it all looks like one big happy Mickey face. But the truth is there are two sides to Disney Studios Florida. One is all fun and fantasy, shows, rides, and adventures. The other is the reality of how movies and television are actually created.
This is what we call our Imagineering department. It's where we dream up our new projects.
Audio animatronics was an idea of Walt Disney's. He became interested in taking animation from a two-dimensional form and moving it into a three-dimensional form. He experimented with a number of ways to move small figures. Early on, Walt filmed Buddy Ebsen doing a dance routine. He then worked with engineers to duplicate the dance with a small figure manipulated with cams and wires.
Now, these are not working from tape. These are manually controlled. This little gizmo here, kind of like a joystick on the old type airplanes, is what gives us a chance to program the birds. And as we work this and get all the little movements that we want in the bird out, we record it on the tape. And then from then on, the tape will do everything that we've done here. Sit down, we'll have a little go at this thing. Now, this is not part of our show. I mean, you know, the tiki room. This is a little robin that we had in Mary Poppins. And this little bird sang a duet with Julie Andrews. Maybe we can get a little response from it. Hello there, kid. What can you do for us, huh? Can you sing, whistle, anything? Huh?
That's marvelous.
It was a trip in celebration of Disneyland's 10th anniversary. And I was one of several Central Florida reporters who was out there at the time. And we were ushered into Mr. Disney's office and told we could ask questions. And when it came my turn, I asked him if he was the one who was buying these 30,000 acres in Central Florida. And it stunned him so that it made me think maybe he was. Well, he said, no, I'm not buying any property out there. He said, that would be no place to put a park. He said your average mean rainfall, whatever the number was, he knew. And he called up Orlando, Central Florida, which was unusual because nobody at the time had really ever heard of Orlando. Mm-hmm. And he knew exactly where it was. He knew how many tourists were here every year, how much it rained all summer. He knew entirely too much about the area not to have had a reason to. No, I didn't believe him. He wasn't a very good liar.
Of course, there will be another amusement theme park in Florida, similar to the one in California. We're now developing a master plan that encompasses the theme park and all the facilities around it that will serve the tourists. Hotels, motels, and a variety of recreation activities. In fact, just this little area alone is 5 times the size of Disneyland in California. But as you can see on this master plan, the theme park and all the other tourist facilities fill just one small area of our enormous Florida project. According to this scale, I am 6 miles tall. Now that's 12 miles from here up to here, and the whole area encompasses 27,400 acres. That is 43 square miles, twice the size of the island of Manhattan.
Roy, we have a surprise for you that you don't know about. We thought it would be appropriate for you to read the same dedication your father did 20 years ago from this same plaque he held in his hands near this very same spot. Roy.
All right.
Walt Disney World is a tribute to the philosophy and life of Walter Elias Disney, and to the talents, the dedication, and the loyalty of the entire Disney organization that made Walt Disney's dream come true. May Walt Disney World bring joy and inspiration and new knowledge to all who come to this happy place. A magic kingdom where the young at heart of all ages can laugh and play and learn together. Dedicated this first day of October 1971, and it's signed Roy O. Disney, my dad.
In an interview with the Canadian Broadcasting Company in 1963, Walt Disney explained how he got his original idea for creating a theme park.
Well, it came about when my daughters were very young, and Saturday was always Daddy's Day with the two daughters. So we'd start out and try to go someplace with, different things, and I take them to the merry-go-round, and I took them different places, and as I'd sit there while they rode the merry-go-round, did all these things, sit on a bench, eating peanuts, I felt that there should be something built, some kind of an amusement enterprise built where that the parents and the children could have fun together.
Walt Disney and his brother Roy opened the first Disney Brothers cartoon studio in the back of a Hollywood real estate office. 2 years later, production had outgrown their cramped offices, and the brothers built a new studio on the outskirts of Hollywood. In this computer-generated simulation, Imagineers were able to preview Test Track from the driver's seat. Extremes of speed, heat, cold, wind, and rough roads were tested in many different combinations before any of the actual attraction was ever built.
It's perfect for those who long for the companionship of a pet, but none of the associated mess or mice. Give me more power. Too much! Too much!
The living seas feature over 5,000 sea creatures, including the gentle manatee. Grazing on seagrass, manatees eat for 6 to 8 hours every day, grow to 15 feet in length, and weigh up to 3,500 pounds. Manatees can spend almost 25 minutes underwater before coming up for air, but only need to breathe for a few seconds before diving again. Manatees are an endangered species and are protected by the federal government. The building of Spaceship Earth, the world's largest geosphere, was a monumental design, engineering, and construction challenge, as this time-lapse film shows.
The movements of the audio-animatronics figure of Ben Franklin are extremely complicated. In a scene with Thomas Jefferson, he actually walks upstairs. It took over a month to program these movements in order to make them precise, yet smooth and fluid.